What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's good, people? What is up? What is up? They went from the fourth level of hell and sent us down to the seventh level of hell. Why? Because then you got Kwanzaa pulling out her titties. The whore pulled out her titties. And these whore bags over here started feeling and fondling on her tits. What?
I don't have it to do with you. Girl, you can go over there, rant and rave. Girl, you can shake all your rainbow bright hair all you want, dear one. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this with you, dear one. I'm not doing this with you, dear one. I don't have nothing to do with you, and I'm done. Baby, you can scream my name from the rooftops from now till Jesus come back. I'm done after this.
Introduced to Tick's meat. Do you see what I see? Did y'all really hello, casting, wardrobe, y'all let him roll up out of wardrobe with these fans on, giving us all of this, thinking we were not going to see it? We have been waiting with bated breath and anticipating all season long for the slightest glimpse, and y'all just put it out there this episode in all of its magnificent glory.
Listen, that young man said, baby, you ate on this first date, you giving up the cooch on the first date, okay? Or you gonna run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. That's our new theme song. That is the new song. Listen, somebody need to put a beat to that. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. That's what y'all got going on.
Called out Sandcastle. Sand, bitch. Ow. Oh my God, it was so funny, girl. Ooh, baby, listen, let me tell you something. This shit started to turn into the precursor for some gay porn. That's what I thought it was. Because Big T is getting all, the voice starting to go deeper and get a little more wet and moist and sentimental and all this shit. And it was real gay at this point. Like, I thought the bitches was going to, I thought Lil Bird was going to turn Big T around and do him like he did Uncle Cliff and do the grease it up with City Lou and ran right in there. It's not a coincidence that Big T started off the conversation by trying to find out if Lil Murder was fucking Mercedes, which he found out he's not. It's also not a coincidence that he would start talking about prison. Why? Because the bitches was probably fucking in prison. Girl. Uncle Clifford, you better go get your man. Big T got plans for that. Well, he had on look like something Big Bird vomited up or something like that. Like, I did not like it. That Big Bird couture he was going for, it did not work. Like the pastor of a gay mega church on Easter Sunday. Okay, it was way too much sequins. He had on way too much makeup. Baby, his face looked like Yana Van Zam's neckline. Okay, just way too much makeup, clumped in everywhere on his face. Get it together, sweetheart. Like, you're a big girl, so that gives you a whole lot of canvas. So that was a whole lot of makeup, honey. Yeah. Rico looked like he was auditioning to be one of the three kings, or he was auditioning to be the main character on Jesus Christ Superstar. Girl, Wayne, did you have on a blue thong or a blue G-string or something? If you did, I want to see Cassie. Get me up in my DMs. I do want to see if you have a blue thong or a blue, Josh strap, something like that. I'd love to see it. Anyway, but I liked it with the turtleneck. Now, Troy.
Hey, y'all. Hey. What's up, people? We are here. We are live. We are live, whores. Listen, you know what my favorite part of that intro is? When I broke ceremoniously into Jesus Christ Superstar. Don't judge me. Hey, Sean Kinsey. Sean Kinsey and I were chatting it up in the chat over at Thais's place yesterday. He is a member of the greatest fraternity in the world. So nice, they named it twice. All of that good stuff. Y'all put a Shondo in the chat for him. Hey Volvo, hey Boo. Volvo be over there at Thais' house too. He'll be over there with mother at Thais's house. And we support the people around these parts. We support Black people. Hey Diamond Pearl Jim, glad you made it. I know people are coming in. We're late today. Hey Tanya Boo, you back in town? I know you be on two wheels, Tanya. You be over there on in the highways and byways. Y'all be on two wheels over there and so forth. But what's up? What's up, Volvo? Hey Cookie. Hey everybody, as y'all come in, y'all know this is the politics of it all. We got a lot to go through. Tomorrow's a big day. So we're gonna cover the politics like only we can over here. We like to make it a little more palatable over here and have some fun with it too. Listen, y'all. I have already watched the final episode the season finale of Interview with the Vampire. I haven't done the review yet because I just put out the review for episode 6 last night. But listen, the final episode was so good, so good. This whole first season was so good, so good. Great first season, great first season. Oh, you went to Texas? Come on now, you went over there to the great state of Texas, governed by Governor Hot Wheels over there. Mm, mm. Anyway, my hat looks off today. Oh, my hat looks so off. Anyway, um, let's be about the business and do the things that we do. So I got the dossier today is jam packed. The dossier is jam packed. Matter of fact, I'm gonna need some extra, um, some extra. I always keep a pack of Gatorade over here, so I'm gonna need an extra something to lubricate this good throat because we're gonna do a lot of talking today. Hey Jay Parrish, what's good, boo? It was really good, Sean Kenzie. You can go watch my. I did all the reviews for all of the episodes. We break it down like only we can over here at L Teddy 27. But I probably put out the maybe Wednesday. I'm gonna try to get the review for episode 7 out on Wednesday. Allow people time to grapple with the review for episode 6. I did do Housewives of Potomac, and yes, I had to. Y'all know I had been saying I was not gonna drag nobody for a while, but Ashley brought it out of me last night. Satana really drug it out of me last night, so I had to drag her and give her a little bit. All right, so y'all like the video, share it out, do all of the things we have to do. We have a lot of great information to give out today, as only we do here on the. Y'all know the politics of it all. We really break a lot of stories on all my shows. We really do break a lot of stories, and you hear it here first, and then it blows up on social media and on major media platforms afterwards. But we always talk about it here first. I have some updates on some stories that I have an update on the story we did a few months ago. I also have an update on the story we did on Silly Saturday. So I have an update from the story we did on Silly Saturday. Well, it was Sunday, but still. So I have an update on one of those stories, and then I got a whole long list of stuff about tomorrow elections and voting stuff. So I have a lot to do with that, and then we'll get off. And really be will probably be live around 6:30, so we'll get off and make sure we get y'all off in enough time to go over there to really be. So yes, we are here. Let's do the damn thing. Let's have a good time. I saw it last night. It was really good. Okay. Oh, you talk about Interview with the Vampire. Yeah, yeah. It was good. All right. So that twist at the end made so much sense on the end of the season finale of Interview with the Vampire, because they gave you the precursor at the end of episode 6, and then they came back at the season finale. You said, oh, but I ain't gonna spoil it for those people who ain't watched the season finale yet, because I think the season finale is only available on the app or on the streaming until next weekend. So I ain't gonna ruin it for nobody, but anyway, let me get to the dossier. The dossier today is quite packed. Where to start? Where to start? Y'all know what? Hey, China White, what's good, boo? Y'all are coming up in here. Of course, tomorrow night we will be on Darren Green TV's channel to do our panel for Real Housewives of Potomac. We'll be on Darren Green TV's channel tomorrow night to do that, so you can catch us there. All right. You know what? We're gonna start early today, so we're gonna get our sugar spikes out of the way early. Is that okay with y'all? Is that okay with y'all? Hey NK Universe, what's up? What's good? Is it okay for us to start off with sugar spikes today? Well, it's my channel. I have creative, authority here. So, without further ado, it is time for your favorite segment of the program. All ladies, gentlemen, non-binary, gender-conforming members of the audience. It is now time for our sugar spike segment.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Get your honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it mixes with my chicken wings. Get none of that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes on my chicken wings. Take us out, Moose.
Taste the biscuit.
Holy Ghost will tell you, don't wait at the church. You can win it.
Come on, mama,
Get rid of it.
Jesus!
I wish somebody help me.
Jesus! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's our sugar spike segments. People, listen, we're going to start right in with Governor Death Sentence. Listen, Governor Death Sentence has a lot of goddamn nerves. Okay? Where did you even get this duo Taste of It? Listen, Taste the Biscuits, that's our sugar. We used to just play, I used to do the Sugar Spike segment song, but I came up with that. I found that and I meshed that together, and now we have the Sugar Spike segment song. I don't have to sing the song anymore. So, NK, you got to be over here a little more often. You'll see a whole lot of funny stuff over here. All right. So anyway, Governor Death Sentence. Let me give you some background on him. Okay. A lot of people don't know Governor Death Sentence started off as an educator. He was a teacher. So if you remember, let's go back to earlier in the spring, late spring, early summer, when Governor Death Sentence was unsheathing the Don't Say Gay bill and so forth, and that was used as actually parts of his Don't Say Gay bill. He got parts of it from Texas, and he had his own version of it, and so many other states have become copycat states of it. Y'all know the holy trinity of racism, bigotry, and discrimination: Texas, Florida, and then we got North Carolina up there. Even though Arizona's fighting for that third spot, Texas and Florida are cemented, but Arizona is trying to get that third spot away from North Carolina. Anyway, so let me read some of this for y'all so y'all can see exactly, because I'm not going to read the headline for you. I'm going to read the beginning portion of this article, and then y'all going to see the hypocrisy here. It says Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' death sentence has made protecting the state's school-age children from the woke left a major policy priority for his administration. His press secretary, Christina Pushaw, has gone so far as to suggest that anyone who doesn't support the state's Don't Say Gay law is, quote, probably a groomer, end quote. We already know what a groomer is. We ain't gonna even go down that road. Now, here's where it gets interesting. But a recent New York Times investigation suggests that DeSantis himself behaved questionably when he taught at a private Georgia boarding school during the 2001-2002 school year. According to the Times, several former students recall the then 23-year-old DeSantis frequently attending parties with seniors while teaching history at Darlington School. Here's a quote from one of the students, quote, as an 18-year-old, I remember thinking, what are you doing here, dude? End quote. Former students remember DeSantis attending at least 2 post-graduation parties where alcohol was served. One student recalls, quote, it was his first job out of Yale. He was cute. We didn't really think too much about it, end quote. Last year, The blog Hill Reporter unearthed a 2002 photo of DeSantis with three female Darlington students. One of the young women in the photo appears to be holding a beer bottle, and the photo was reportedly taken prior to graduation. Another former student remembers seeing a memo reminding teachers that fraternizing with students was inappropriate. Quote, that's got to be about Mr. DeSantis. That's what I remember everyone saying. End quote. Recalled a 2003 Darlington grad by the name of Gates Menace. DeSantis also made waves as a history teacher. His counterfactual views on the Civil War were so notorious that students made a clip of the school's video yearbook mocking them. In the clip, a student imitating DeSantis says, quote, the Civil War was not about slavery. It was about two competing economic systems, end quote. This is Governor DeSantis way back when he was 23 years old. See, I told y'all these people don't just become this way. They've been this way. Let me keep going. Another student recalls, quote, in history class, he was trying to play devil's advocate that the South had good reason to fight that war, to kill other people over owning people, black people. And that's according to Danielle Pompey, a 2003 graduate of Darlington School. Pompey also alleges that during her time at Darlington, DeSantis was hostile toward her because she was black. Stop me when you're surprised. So your stinking ass, Governor Death Sentence, want to call anybody who opposes the Don't Say Gay bill a groomer, but you around here drinking it up with underage kids that are in high school. Why the fuck are you not in jail some goddamn where? But you're over here running the great state of Florida, the state to which I was born and raised. See, this is the problem. The problem is I get on here ranting and raving, and there are other people who will go on ranting and raving, and then white people with their mantle, say it with me, with their mantle of white privilege and their breastplate of white supremacy. They will go and they will act like none of this ever happened. They will come and they will act like nothing to see here. Oh no, Governor DeSantis giving alcohol to underage kids while they're in high school. Oh, nothing to see here. There's not, why would we do that? Governor, why do you think he's so openly embraced this whole we're not going to teach real factual history, we're just going to teach it the way we want to teach it? That's why he was such a big proponent of anti-CRT, anti-woke. He didn't just start this way, he's been this way. And that's why I keep telling y'all Whitney Houston lied to us. The children are not our future. I believe the children are our future. No, I believe the children ain't shit, because these white people are becoming more and more racist. I told you, the Generation Z white kids are worse than their parents. You have to go back to their grandparents and or great grandparents to know the full extent of the racism with white children in Generation Z. I'm telling you now. And if you think it's going to get any better, you're dreaming. You are reaching. It's coming. But I find it really interesting that we have this whole New York Times investigation into Governor Death Sentence, and now we see that you over here breaking the law. You're breaking laws. Even though it was still in the great state of Georgia, you still, sir, have laws against you giving alcohol to minors or being in a room as a teacher and an adult at a party where minors are drinking. Really? You don't see any ethics problems there? This is the same guy who said that any language in a school that speaks to sexuality or sexual orientation is just like them having pornographic material. He equated language in textbooks that were, explaining orientation and so forth. He equated that to porn. Maybe it's porn for him. I don't know. But he equated that to porn and said that's why you can't have this kind of stuff in K through 12 education. Just a mess. I told y'all there's an all-out assault on LGBTQ youth. There's an all-out assault on LGBTQ youth. Please be clear. What we have going on tomorrow with this midterm elections is, I'm telling you, the 2022 midterm elections as well as the 2024 presidential election are existential threats to what we know to be a free nation. Because please be clear, they done already took Roe v. Wade away. They're at the precipice of getting rid of affirmative action. They had already gutted affirmative action, but they're about to get rid of it completely. Please be clear, sodomy laws are already on the table. Texas already has a case over in Texas where they've already wanting to reinstate sodomy laws. And they've lined the circuits, they've lined the judiciary branch. That's what President Trump's job was. He lined the judiciary. So they got a whole bunch of, fucktards and yahoos over there waiting to do their bidding. So even if they lose in the lower courts, they're just going to appeal to a higher court until they get to one of their people who they have put in place in one of those circuits, those federal circuits, these people with these lifelong appointments. And then what's going to happen is those are going to be the people that's going to say, sure, you can have your sodomy laws back. And even if it makes it past them, they don't care. Why? Because you got Clarence and his boys over there down there to the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court. Him, Amy Coney Barrett, Neil Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and all of them over there just ready to take us back to 1776. And there's nothing that those liberal justices can do. Hell, ain't nothing that Chief Justice Roberts can do. He tries to be, centrist. He's still conservative leading. He tries to be centrist, but it's nothing he could do with them. Clarence Thomas is running the Supreme Court. You got Justice Alito over there. All of them. You got Alito, Thomas, Gorsuch, Barrett, Coney Barrett, Kavanaugh. That's 5 right there. They don't need Chief Justice Roberts. They can give a shit. He can go over there with the liberals for all they care. They got 5. Just a mess. What's good, Tracy Boo? What's good, Boo? Are you driving? All right. All right, I got you. I see you. You say you driving. I'm with you. I got you. All right. So yes, that's the first story. Do I have another story for our sugar spike segment? So I found that very interesting that Governor DeSantis is around here giving underage children drinks. Oh, in our piece de resistance, in our sugar spike segment, y'all get a load of this shit now. Those of y'all who are like me, hey Diva One, what's good? What's good, boo? Diva One, we've been screaming this since back in December of 2020 when Biden first won, and it was looking like the Senate was going to be 50-50. We said immediately then, if Biden don't come in and pack the court, it's going to be a problem. He ain't real. And he still ain't tried to do it. He still ain't even tried to do nothing with the filibuster yet. So we know he ain't trying to pack the court. This is fuck, but we have to talk about the Dems just as bad as we talk about the Republicans around here because they just as full of shit. Speaking of full of shit ass people who ain't doing a goddamn thing, y'all's girl, Nikki Haley. Now, if you follow politics like I do, you've heard this on all day long, what the hell she had to say. But if you ain't heard it, let me bring you up to speed. Hey, Lamone. Say it for the people in the back, Lamone. Please say it for the people in the back. This is how you know Merrick Garland over there at the DOJ, y'all ain't for real. Y'all are playing reindeer games. Now my girl up there in New York, Letitia James, she's here for it. She's about that life. That black woman is about that life. Merrick Garland and his level brand of fuckery, he ain't about that life. He ain't about it. He ain't about it. He is not about it. Child, a mess. A goddamn mess. Anyway, Nikki Haley, former United States ambassador to the United Nations, she was the representative for these yet to be United States of America for the entire United Nations. So when the United Nations were meeting, she was our spokesperson. She was the one giving answers for us, appointed by your president, Cheeto man, sun-kissed orange man, Donald John Trump. But let me tell you what she had to say. Hey, so Jeff. Hey, boo. Child. Oh, you back down in Pearl Jam? Child. Go ahead and grab a drink because this going to send you. If you ain't heard this story, it's really going to send you. Hey, St. James. So let me read this for you so you could be just, you know what? Hold on. This story is so maddening that we need one more time for the thing. I need the theme song one more time because I'm telling you, this is going to send you some places, okay? Send you one more time on the theme song just because this story is making me spike out. Give me a moment.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Get your honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it mixes with my chicken wings. Get none of that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes on my chicken wings. Take us out, Moose.
Taste the biscuit.
Only goes to tell you, don't wait at the church. You can wait at the beach.
my mama
Can't wait at the beach.
Jesus!
I wish somebody help me.
Jesus. I had to go get me some of my gummy bears that I had over there so I could regulate my sugar levels because they're spiking right now. I know I'm about to spike the hell out on this story. So I'm just warning you now. We right here. We right here with Nikki Haley and her level brand of fuck shit and fuckery. Let me read this for y'all. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley on Sunday, yes, that was yesterday, said that Senator Raphael Warnock should be deported as she rallied for Georgia's Republican Senate nominee Herschel Walker. Here's the quote. Legal immigrants are more patriotic than the leftists these days. They worked to come into America and they love America. They want the laws followed in America. So the only person we need to make sure we deport is Warnock. I don't even have to say, y'all know what, when I do this, y'all already know what I'm saying, right? When I do this, y'all know what I'm saying when I do that. What do you want me to do with it? What do you want me to do with this? What do you want me to do with that? Like Pinky Tinky, you know when I do this, you know what I'm saying. What the hell do you want me to do with that? So the same Republicans, right, who are doing everything imaginable to keep every immigrant outside of the country, who want to deport all immigrants. The same ones who are touting deporting immigrants, putting up walls, doing everything in their power to keep people out because they're so anti-immigrants, right? That Republican are the ones who are now saying, quote, about immigrants, they worked to come into America, so they love America. They want the laws followed in America. So the only person we need to make sure we deport is Warnock. Now, let me get this shit straight. The Republican Party are the same people who are the Bible thumpers, who are the evangelicals, right? Right. They're here for all things Christian and Christianity, right? And so, and they're nationalists, right? They're here touting America. Fuck yeah. If you've never seen that song, go Google it. It's a goddamn train wreck. They have that on a loop in their car blasting America. Fuck yeah. Because they don't want no immigrants. These are the people who are now, in order to support a man who is damn near clinically certifiable, who is violent, who is the quintessential deadbeat dad stereotype that y'all have slapped across the foreheads of every black man that's ever been born in the annals of time, who has done every who has been the depiction of every violent stereotype that you put on black men since the annals of time in this country. Y'all want to support him so he could be y'all do boy, but y'all won't support an actual pastor, a real and true Bible thumper, a real and true man, a man of the cloth, a sitting pastor. And not only is he a pastor, he is the sitting senior pastor at the church that belongs to the one black man that you white people always try to attach yourselves to. That's the guy that y'all want to attack and say needs to be deported. The man who was born here. What? Remember the clip? Damn it! I wish I had that clip again. I think I deleted the clip. Remember the clip I had of the girl, the white girl who was on the podcast, who said, "I don't give a shit. We don't care about right. We don't care about wrong. We don't give a shit what nobody did. All we care about is winning back the Senate." They have made that. They've already said that. We're winning back the White House. We're winning back the Senate first. That's all they care about. They don't give a shit what the hell they got to go through. They don't give a shit what you did. Like, there's no moral compass anymore. The conservative party of old has been dead for quite some time now, but it is truly dead. That body ain't even in the ground no more. Baby, they excavated that body and then burned it and cremated it so they could make sure it wasn't no coming back. Like, it's like we're in some kind of bizarre world. Like this, you wake up and see some of these storylines and say, this just can't be life. Like, this cannot be life. Like, I'm trying to make it make sense. This cannot be life. There's no rhyme or reason for it. Like, what do y'all want me to do with that? If you want to go at a rally and rant and rave and say all kinds of shit, we know these things are going to happen. But what oxymoronic, paradoxical, dystopian world are you living in, Nikki Haley, where you seem to believe that it's okay for you to say that a natural born United States citizen should be deported. Deported to where? Like where? Like I want y'all in the chat to make some sense for this for me, because y'all gonna have to help me, because I don't even understand what in everything that is holy do we got going on. Now, the other part that makes this so rich, and y'all know where I'm about to go with this, right? Your raggedy ass parents are goddamn immigrants. Nikki goddamn Haley. See, you got that last name because you got married with the last name Haley. We can't even pronounce your last name. Since you want to go down this road, Nikki Haley. Since your motherfucking ass want to go down this road, you're the one who should be goddamn deported. Your parents were not born here, ma'am. And do we even know that they were citizens when you were born here? So if anything, you and your parents could have been deported out of this goddamn country. Matter of fact, if your Republican Party had their say, you would not even be in this goddamn country to have even run for South Carolina governor. You would not be in this country to be the goddamn ambassador for these yet to be United States of America. You damn sure wouldn't be in this country. So you could have your ass at the goddamn rally over there in Hiram, Georgia, telling a natural born United States citizen that they need to be deported. You got a lot of whole fucking nerve. You got a lot of fucking nerve. It's so funny to me that those people who get lumped into the people of color umbrella, the moment they feel like they got their own level of white supremacy or white privilege, they don't want no parts of our black asses. Then we become the blacks, the blacks. Ain't no more people of color. Mind you, the blacks are the ones who have been able to afford every other member of that umbrella, people of color, all of the rights that they have. Because all of the rights that these people have, black people fought for those. All of the rights that they have came on the back of black people. Women's rights came on the backs of black people. LGBTQ rights came on the backs of black people. Latinx rights came on the back of black people. Asia Pacific Islander, AAPI rights came on the back of black people. Y'all really want to go down this road? Because everybody has their cross to bear. And as soon as y'all feel like y'all have made it to the promised land, y'all just want to stick the blacks over there. Yeah, let y'all go on over there and suffer. That ain't our problem. A mess. A whole goddamn mess. This is what the fuck we're dealing with. I told y'all I was gonna spike the hell out. Y'all see why I had to get a whole nother. I had to put the theme song one more time. I had to get some goddamn gummy bears because I'm spiking the hell out. Because I will drag the shit out of fucking Nikki Haley right now. I really want to drag her. I'm not gonna do that because we only got so much time on this show. But if I would spend the next 30 minutes dog walking this woman. I would dog walk her for the next 30 minutes. Y'all know I can. You know I will. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Nope. Not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. But you got a lot of fucking nerve. You should never have the words deported, deportation, deport anything come out your goddamn mouth, Nikki Haley. You got a lot of goddamn nerve. I'm not doing this. Let me move on to the next story because I already know that I will. What's my next story? Let me find my next story because listen, listen. Mm-mm, mm-mm. You got a lot of goddamn nerve. Mm-mm, mm-mm. You got a lot of goddamn. What's my next story? What's my next story? Because I'm not doing this. All right. I found myself. I was about to go down the road with Nikki Haley, and she's not worth it. She is not worth it. What's up, Yana? What's good, boo? Nikki Haley is not worth it. Let me move on because I could drag her. In more spiky news, so Elon Musk, as you all can see, is doing everything in his power to blow up Twitter, to just turn it into a goddamn wasteland, okay? To fucking turn Twitter into, I mean, he's trying to do the Kanye. And what I mean by do the Kanye, take something worth of billions of dollars and make it worth nothing. That's what he's trying to do. Because he's about to single-handedly just ruin an application that is worth tens of billions of dollars. So you just had tens of billions of dollars to say, "Oh, I'm gonna take this to 40+ billion dollars, light a match, and just blow it up." Because that's what's literally about to happen to Twitter. People are leaving Twitter in droves. Okay, like there's a mass exodus now happening with companies and news outlets and celebrities and things with Twitter. So Elon Musk and Twitter announced yesterday that they would be suspending Kathy Griffin from Twitter for impersonating him. So what happened? Here's what happened when Elon Musk last week announced that he was going to take away the blue check marks and make people pay $8 a month to get a blue check. And he announced that last month, and then not last month, last week, and then within a couple of days said, "Okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it." They didn't test it out. They didn't beta it or nothing. Mind you, even before they would have had the chance to do that, people were already saying, "We want no parts of that. That shit don't make no sense," because they were going to do that without truly verifying or validating whether or not these were the people. If you had your $8, you could get a goddamn blue check. Okay, so when he announced that late last week, and then like a couple of days later on Saturday said, "Here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go," just shoved it down people's throat. Celebrities who had blue checks began to troll him. They said, "Oh, you just gonna do this like this? Let me show you what can happen." So it first started with Sarah Silverman. She's a troll's troll. You know, Sarah Silverman has been a troll's troll for a long time. I could drag the hell out of Sarah Silverman because she done did a whole lot of nefarious ass shit too. She ain't shit either. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother live. We ain't gonna even go down that road. Anyway, so he's calling it the True Blue subscription. Okay. So Sarah Silverman hit him up first. Sarah Silverman changed um her Twitter. She couldn't change her at handle, but she changed the name to Elon Musk. She put Elon Musk's picture. She put Musk's banner up and had the blue check mark and said, "I'm Elon Musk." And she did that. And then on Sunday, um, the only way you knew it wasn't Elon Musk is the actual handle, the at itself still said Sarah Silverman. And she tweeted out and said, "I am a freedom of speech absolutist, and I eat duty for breakfast Every duty, DOODY, for breakfast every day. That's what she tweeted out. Then on Sunday, um, her account was labeled temporarily restricted. And there was a warning on her account that says, quote, there has been some unusual activity from this account. She hit him first. After she got done with him, television actress Valerie Bertinelli, she was the next one. She said, let me get some skin in the game. So Valerie Bertinelli changed her account to Elon Musk, and she did it early. And so on Friday, she said, quote, this is what she tweeted on Friday. Quote, the blue check mark simply meant your identity was verified. Scammers would have a harder time impersonating you. That no longer applies. Good luck out there. That's what she quoted tweeted out on Friday. On Saturday, she decided she was going to troll too and changed her name to Elon Musk on Saturday. And then from that account that was now named Elon Musk, she tweeted out, vote blue for democracy, and then put hashtag vote blue in 2022. She then on Sunday changed her account back to Valerie Bertinelli. And then after she did that, Elon Musk, the real one, tweeted out, going forward, any Twitter handles engaging in impersonation without clearly specifying parody will be permanently suspended. That's what he tweeted out. He also tweeted that a name change on Twitter will, quote, cause temporary loss of verified check mark, end quote. Oh, now you see that it ain't. Matter of fact. And then he had to backpedal and pussy pop off of it because now they had put the program out there, but now they said, wait, we're going to suspend the program until we get a few days to work things out and work out the kinks and make sure everything is right. Oh, really? So you think that firing half the staff might have helped with it? Because you fired half the staff. The man fired literally half the company. And then when he figured out, oh shit, I need these people. Oh shit, they really do work and they have jobs. And now he's, inconspicuously sending out letters to certain ones asking them if they'll take their job back. Wait, what? Bitch, you just sent me letters saying I was fired, and now you backpedaling the pussy pop because you figuring out the shit ain't working. Nah, bitch, I need a raise. Matter of fact, I need my salary double. Fuck you and fuck your life. I'll be taking my talents somewhere else. I don't have that kind of time. Now, the former CEO of Twitter he said he's going to start a new social media platform. I think it's called Blue Sky. It's in beta right now. But yeah, so Kathy Griffin, who's another troll, decided she was going to get into the fray, and she got into the trolling on Sunday, and she had her account suspended, and then Elon Musk said that, oh, you think you control? I control too. So Elon Musk, after she was suspended, he tweeted out that Kathy Griffin was, what did he tweet out? Oh, here it is. He's tweeted out that quote, she was suspended for impersonating a comedian, end quote. This is not what you, first of all, I guarantee you 99.98% of Twitter had no idea who the owner or CEO of Twitter was, couldn't name him at all. Who the founder was, who created Twitter, who he was. See, the creator and CEO and owner of Twitter, they're not the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world. Mark Zuckerberg is a damn narcissist who wants to be seen and wants everybody to know who he is. The Twitter people, baby, you ain't got to never know who we are. Just run me my coins. And that's how you're supposed to be. if you're the CEO of a company. I shouldn't know who the fuck the CEO of Twitter is. I should just be over here tweeting and not being a fuck bother. But he has an axe to grind. He wants to be seen. He wants to be heard. Remember, he didn't create Tesla. He bought Tesla. He's never had a real idea in his own head. He always has had white privilege. He's always had money, and he's always been able to buy something and then try to take credit for it as if it was his baby when it really wasn't. That's what happened with Tesla. And he almost ran that company into the ground. In more Elon Musk news, keeping with the fact that you're a whole ass fucktard with a lot of money who decided you were going to buy a platform the size of Twitter just so you could use it to spew all of your stupidity into the atmosphere, he decided it was okay this morning to tweet out pictures of Hitler and then tell people that, tell independent voters that they needed to vote for a Republican Congress. Oh yeah, I did. Did I mention the fact that he tweeted out a picture of Hitler? But I would venture to guess that he's not about to be canceled. I'm just saying, I ain't Team Kanye or Team Kyrie at all. We done drug the fuck out of Kanye and Kyrie to death over here. I ain't Team Kanye, but I would venture to guess he's not about to start being canceled. Who knows? He's an idiot and an asshole with a large platform, and this is what we have to deal with. Well, we know South Africa is just as racist, if not in some cases even more racist, as these yet to be United States of America over here. I'm not going down this road. I'm going to put this next story in the Sugar Spike segment because we talked about this on Saturday, and what is happening here is exactly what we said on Saturday. If you were present on Saturday, well, it was Silly Saturday, but I was out of town on Saturday, so I had to do it on Sunday. But if you go look at the last Silly Saturday, we talked about what happened to Nikki Cross. Did we not? We went over here and we went down the bigoted and racist history of MSNBC when it comes to Black women. We went all the way back. You can go listen. This stuff goes way back. This ain't new with MSNBC. Okay, this ain't new. You can go. I mean, you literally can go all the way back to people like Ann Curry. You can go back to Melissa Harris Perry. Remember, like I told y'all, Melissa Harris Perry in 2016, they wanted her to do nonstop presidential election coverage. She told them, I will not, because my viewers do not want to watch wall-to-wall presidential election coverage. I will not. And they fired her. That's how Joy Reid, because remember, Joy Reid used to be the fill-in. At that time, Melissa Harris Perry had the show. Joy Reid was the fill-in. So whenever Melissa couldn't be there or they needed a Black person to come and talk, they would go get Joy Reid, and Joy Reid would go fill in. And Joy Reid, who was trying to get, and I love Joy Reid down. Love Joy Reid down, but Joy Reid knew the assignment. She knew what she had to do, and she wanted a spot. So what did she do? Y'all want me to do wall-to-wall coverage? I'll do wall-to-wall coverage. Y'all see what CNN did to Soledad O'Brien. Soledad O'Brien didn't want to comply. So they said, well, bitch, fuck you and fuck your life. They got rid of Soledad O'Brien. Tamron Hall, if you remember, before we had the Tamron Hall show, Tamron Hall had the 11 o'clock spot on MSNBC. And Tamron Hall, if you remember, this was, I want to say, either 2017 or 2018. Tamron Hall had a congressman on her show. It escapes, but I remember watching it. She had a congressman on her show, and he had made some disparaging comments about Black people, and she undressed him. She disemboweled him. She eviscerated him on her show. Baby, she went in and let have. Tamron Hall sure did. And within the month, she was off. She was off within the month. Jamel Hill spoke truth to power on ESPN and called Donald Trump what he was, which was a goddamn racist. What happened? Not only did they get rid of Jamel Hill, ended up my boy Michael Smith. He ended up not having a whole. And I know Michael Smith. One day we'll do a whole history. I think I have done on this channel about certain people I know, but he's one of the people I know. And now he's no longer on there. So my point is, MSNBC has a very nefarious relationship with and around Black women. Tiffany Cross would come on the Cross Connection, and she would let it rip. She was speaking for a whole lot of Black. I would never say nobody speaks for all Black people, but she was speaking for a whole lot of Black people, and she was very well educated. She was well researched. She was knowledgeable. She had insight. She had connections, and when she spoke from a place that they don't expect Black people to speak from. She spoke from a place where they didn't think that we had that, intellectual ability. They didn't think we had that intellectual fortitude and wherewithal with which to, speak like that. They always go, "Oh my God, you speak so well for a Black person. Oh, you're so well studied. You're so knowledgeable." Really? Really? Anyway, so she's come out. She has come out and she put out a statement this morning. I believe it was on her Instagram. Was it on her Instagram or on her Twitter? But I'll read you her statement. Because if you remember, Tucker Carlson and Meghan McCain and them and the fucktards over on Fox News was losing their minds because every Saturday, Nikki Tiffany Cross would get up there and eviscerate them and go in and let have, and we were here for it. Now, people are saying that it has something to do with her going on the Breakfast Club and some of the things that she said about Florida. We talked about that on Saturday, and I told y'all and we talked about what she said. Saturday, I ain't gonna tell you what she said. You can go listen to the Silly Saturday, and we'll go over what she said. But that ain't enough to get somebody fired. Okay. Here is what she said. Hold on. Let me read her statement. Where am I at? Where's it at? I had it all queued up. And now, oh, here it is. All right. She said, "I am disheartened to learn of MSNBC's decision to cancel the Cross Connection at such a critical time, 4 days before the midterm election, literally the day before her show was supposed to air. From the beginning, we were intentional about centering communities of color, elevating issues and voices often ignored by the mainstream media, and disrupting the echo chambers. As a result, viewers consistently made the Cross Connection MSNBC's highest rated weekend show. Fresh off the heels of a racial reckoning, as so many have called it, we see that with progress, there is always backlash. Now is not the time to retreat to politics or journalism as usual. It is my hope that the last 2 years of MSNBC have been disruptive and transformative, changing how politics are discussed and making policy more digestible. It was the opportunity of a lifetime to create a show the culture would be proud to keep trending every weekend. While this journey ended abruptly, surprising many of us, my work is not done. Political violence is increasing and it's becoming inherently more dangerous to speak the truth. But after more than 20 years in journalism, I will not stop. The attacks on me from other outlets and former hosts will never control my narrative. Thank you to to my community and fans for your overwhelming advocacy and support. Thank you to the more than 4.6 million monthly viewers, and thank you to the team who worked so hard each week. I will be forever grateful. See you soon. That was her statement. She kept it cute. If you know Tiffany Cross, baby, she could have really went there and did, but she kept it cute. I'm sure somebody will pick her up. Um, I hope that she gets another outlet on a on another large network and platform, and somebody will appreciate what she has to offer. So, black journalists have been in a tizzy. Even Joy Reid, if you go back and look at Joy Reid's readout last week, Friday, at the end of her show, she did a whole thing on Tiffany Cross, and she spoke to the fact that she was supporting Tiffany Cross. She was here for her, and Black women in journalism are here for her. She did devote the last part of her show on Friday to Tiffany Cross. So Jamel Hill was one of the first people to speak out on it. Jamel Hill wrote, "Supporting strong Black voices is not for the weak. Too often, the support goes missing as soon as it becomes too threatening to the entrenched hierarchy. Tiffany is excellent at her job. I know she'll shine brighter, but what MSNBC has done is absolutely cowardly and shameful. To make this move a few days before the critical midterms is just unacceptable. There is a larger issue of strong Black pundits, especially women, lacking the internal support to thrive." Melissa Harris Perry, who we spoke of earlier, she tweeted out, "Thinking this morning, this was Saturday morning, of Ann Curry, Soledad O'Brien, Tamron Hall, Jamel Hill, Tiffany Cross. Those who know." Oh, we know. Um, and and there are tweets, Black Twitter was on top of this. Um, and so I do have um if you want, I'll play it for you. I have a clip of what Joy said, so I will play some of that for you. So let me turn up this volume so you can hear it, because some of y'all may have missed it. So let me play that for you. Oh shoot.
About my friend, colleague, and sister, Tiffany Cross. She's not just my friend, she is my sister. I love her. I support her. I was boosting for her to get the show that she created, the Cross Connection. She put her heart and soul into every day. And I just want to say that those on the far right who are attacking her on a social media app that I won't name, you don't understand how sisters move. So watch this space. We will be here. Her sisters will be here to support anything Tiffany Cross ever does. Know that. Believe that. That's tonight's readout. All with Chris Day starts now.
So that was Joy Reid at the end of her show on Friday. I'm sorry about the volume. I thought it would play louder, but it did not. Could you all hear that? If you couldn't, I apologize. I'll see if I can get it. Could y'all hear that? Y'all can hear it? Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure y'all can hear it because I know the volume was kind of janky. So that's we'll be following up on that, making sure that we look to see what she's doing next to support her. But it speaks to a larger issue, and we talked about this even on Silly Saturday. The larger issue is there's so few black voices in mainstream media, and I was so eternally upset with TV1. I don't always agree with Roland Martin and everything he says. Some things I'm with him, some things I'll be like, nah, Roland, you doing too much. But I loved his show and platform on TV1. And when they got rid of that show, the Roland Martin show on TV1, there was no other outlet. BET hasn't had the BET Nightly News for a while. And like I said on Saturday, some television channel platform that calls itself trying to cater to black people. We got enough black reality shows. I don't need a goddamn another what's the show in Huntsville? I don't need another housewife. I don't need another Love and Hip Hop. I don't need another Love and Marriage wherever. I don't want none of that shit. I don't need to. There's the market is saturated. Y'all seem to believe that's the only type of show that us black people want to consume. But there are those of us who can and will consume television that speaks to issues that we're concerned about, because more and more today we are having issues that we need to discuss and talk about, and white people don't have the intellectual fortitude and wherewithal to talk about our subjects and to speak truth to power about subjects that involve us. I had about I had a lot more to say about that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna stop there. But we we're praying for our sister. We know she'll be good, but I would argue that these platforms that are playing all of these things, and you know who they are. You know that they're catering their excuse me, they're catering their programming toward black people. Why don't you carve out, give us an hour? And even if you don't want to give us a good 30-minute show, and maybe we got to start somewhere. Give me a 30-minute show Monday through Friday. Is that too much to ask? Maybe you say we can't start you out with an hour. Give us 30 minutes, okay? And we'll pack as much as we can in that goddamn 30 minutes. You know, you can bring Jackie Reed back. We love Jackie Reed on BET Nightly News with the big old bazoombas. I only know that because one of my friends, when she used to come on, he would say, "Oh, I'm going to watch BET Nightly News." I'd be like, "You don't care nothing about what's going on BET Nightly News." He'd be like, "But I do care about Jackie Reed and her fine ass." And then I said, "You know what? This is why we can't have nice things. This is exactly why the fuck we can't have nice things." Oh man. Oh, I meant to tell y'all this for my regulars. Hey, Ravine. So, um, one of our palette cleansers from um Saturday hit me up, sent me a DM, one of our palette cleanser. He was like, "Oh, I appreciate the love. I'm glad your people like my pictures." He said, "Let me know. I could see you some stuff." And I was like, "Okay, stay tuned." So I might be able to get, some. I told him, I said, I might incorporate some videos into it, instead of just the pictures. And he was like, "All right, I'm gonna see what I can give you. I gotta talk to my agent and people." He was like, "Yeah, but I see." But he hit me up, one of the palette cleansers. He hit me up, one of our palette cleansers from Silly Saturday. Literally hit me up today. He hit me up today. I guess somebody had showed him the video. And he was all excited about it too. So yes. So that's the Joy Reid. Now here's the important. Now we're gonna at this point we're gonna go into our election coverage. There are some things that I do want to speak to about elections. There are some very pressing things that are happening even today. We have election news that's going on that certain states that they're not going to remain nameless, but there are states that are doing things and making decisions and changing things about elections that are happening in less than 24 hours. Okay. So here's some coverage, and there's been things that have been breaking since I've even been live. And so I don't have those, but I do have some um, things that came across my desk today. All of these stories, and this is coverage about elections or votes in elections. Okay. In the great state of Ohio, polling locations in the great state of Ohio has changed for 24,000 voters in 7 Cuyahoga County cities. I hope I pronounced that right. It's either Cuyahoga or I think it's Cuyahoga County cities. So 7. So I'm sorry. 7 cities in that county have had polling locations change. So and it affects 24,000 voters. I'm trying to see. So if you live in that area, the affected precincts, it says over 24,000 voters are affected by changes to precincts in Berea, Cleveland, North Olmsted, Salone, South Euclid, University Heights, and Warrensville Heights, and that's in Ohio. So, um, you know what? I'm not doing this with you. Tracy, you know if I have him on, I'm gonna put him on Run Your Mouth, and when I do Run Your Mouth, you'll see his Instagram handle. Okay, we're not gonna put it on Silly Saturday, but I'll put it on Run Your Mouth. Thank you for your super chat. Thank you for your super chat. See what I got to go through. God. Anyway, while I'm reporting, if you and that's so this looks like it's the greater Cleveland area, is in and around the Cleveland area, which is a large metropolitan area, conveniently a blue area in Ohio, where we have a very contested election between Ryan and Vance. We have a very contested that the polls are sitting there at a statistical dead heat. What's good, lovely 31 blueprint? You late to class. You late to class, lovely 31 blueprint. Go ahead and start on my 500 word essay. Appreciate it. Go ahead. You late to class. Go ahead and get started on this 500 word essay. You know how we roll over here. Anyway, um, so if you have family in that area, if you live in that area, please, I'm sure your local television website, station websites, your local newspaper websites will give you. If you go to your local county or the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections website, they can give you the updates that you need. Please go and check those polling precincts and locations in that area. We understand that there are a lot of jobs that are either letting you work half days. Some jobs just let people off, period. Tomorrow, like my job, we're off tomorrow. We are off tomorrow. We're also off on Friday. So I got a 3-day week this week. So we are going to ask that you please I actually have a link. Let me post the link to where you can go to find your precinct in Ohio. So if you are affected, mods, I'm going to post the link. And if you can mod Tracy or one of the mods who I know you're driving, Tracy, one of the other mods, if you could post it too. So this is the link if you need to check your polling location. Get that up here. There's the link right there. So if you live in that area, you know someone live in that area, or you have friends or family, that's the link you need to check your voting precinct. And there goes Really B's reminder. Is that our reminder for Really B? Yep. Or is she going live now? Anyway, I think that's the 30-minute reminder for Really B. All right. In other polling news, because this stuff is important, so y'all stick with me, so we can get this out, because this is important information. Where else am I going? So, in the great state of Georgia, there was news earlier today about the fact that Cobb County failed to mail out over 1,000 absentee ballots. They failed to mail out over 1,000 absentee ballots, and they didn't get to the people until very late. 1,036 ballots marked as issued on October 13th and October 22nd had never been mailed due to a staff error. And so the people involved, go over there and tell Really B that we over here got important information. And why is she like, I'm not doing this with Really B. I'm not doing this with her. I will call her and cuss her out later. Anyway, I'm not gonna stop what I'm doing. What was I about to say? This morning there was a lawsuit filed to see if they could get the voting extended until the 14th, where you would have until the 14th to get those mail-in ballots in. Get those mail-in ballots mailed in. And so here my update is a judge today, this afternoon, agreed to extend the deadline to return absentee and mail-in ballots for those voters in Cobb County. So they will have until the 14th to get those ballots in. So that is an update on that, because I know that was all over my stuff on earlier this morning, and there were a lot of people involved with that. Cobb County is Atlanta is part of Atlanta, and that's a huge blue area, and so they definitely need that with the election with Stacey Abrams versus Brian Kemp, as well as Reverend Warnock versus Herschel Walker. So we need all of those votes counted. So thank God that judge agreed to extend the deadline for those mail-in and absentee ballots. Oh, Ravine, I got all of that for you. That's why I say I'm going to need some water, because I'm going to go over all of that stuff for you, okay? All of those rules, and I got all of that for you. That's what we do over here. It was something else. There was other election news. These are all election news information on very important ballot things and election things that came out today. And so I wanted to get this information in the great state of Tennessee. More than 430 voters cast ballots in the wrong race in early election day voting in Nashville, a left-leaning city that Republicans carved 3 ways during redistricting in hopes of flipping a Democratic seat, is where this took place. The amount, so what ended up happening was an election administrator, Jeff Roberts, said Monday that the initial amount, well, let me start over. The amount is a stark jump from the initial number that the Davidson County Election Commission provided last week. Officials said that the problem was contained to just 212 miscast ballots. Election Administrator Jeff Roberts said Monday that the initial amount did not take into account the final 3 days of early voting, which ended last Thursday. He also provided a list of the affected voters. The new number places yet another level of scrutiny around Nashville's voting system. So what ended up happening is these people went to the polls. They did what they were supposed to do. and they were given the wrong ballots. Conveniently, this is in a very blue area, an area populated by a lot of black people in and around Nashville. Now, you know, we have a very highly contested senator seat that's being contested over there, as well as the governor's spot over there, as well as the supervisor. There's some very hotly contested races over in Tennessee, and conveniently in the bluest of areas, because you know ain't that many blue areas in Tennessee, but in the bluest of areas, the same area that has a lot of black people, that they carved into 3 different districts, meaning you could be on one block in one district and your neighbor across the street is in a whole nother district, and then the neighbor across the street from them could be in a whole nother district. That's what we're talking about, because they wanted to split that one district, which was very blue, into 3 districts to make it more Republican, to split up that blue vote. Anyway, they're even going even further. So if you early voted and they're saying, oh, it was 212 first, now it's just 430, they keep saying, oh, we found some other ones that were affected too. And that number is going to continue to grow. And there's going to be more voters that end up being disenfranchised. It's already happening, y'all. Whether or not you wanted to, this is happening. So if you live in and around the Nashville area or the Davidson County, and you went and early voted, please go check and make sure that you weren't one of the people who had their vote compromised. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because we don't have a lot of time left, but I wanted to give you that information. So please go check. If you know somebody that lives in that area, you got people in that area, friends, family, whatever, check. Tell them to check and make sure, because those people may have had their votes disenfranchised. And this is all stuff that's coming out today. These stories that I'm doing right now, real quick, this is all things that have come out, that have come to light today, the day before election. In Philadelphia, election officials are saying that more than 3,400 mail-in ballots are at risk of rejection. In the great city of Philadelphia, in the great state of Pennsylvania, elections officials are saying 3,400 mail-in ballots are at risk of rejection. You know, we got that whole that Senate seat that's with Dr. Oz and Fetterman over there that we got going on. There's several other races in and around Philadelphia, not Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that's hotly contested. So of course, believe it or not, Pennsylvania, when you look at their map, it's all red except for except for Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. When you look at a political map of Pennsylvania, everything's red except for Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Everything else is red. So let me read this real quick. An election official in Philadelphia on Monday said that 3,400 mail-in ballots are at risk of being rejected because of incorrect information, missing dates, or missing secrecy envelopes. Creates a really unfair disenfranchisement to thousands of voters. So what's happening is they say, oh, you didn't put the date on the envelope, your vote will not be counted. If you put your vote in the wrong envelope, it ain't happening. Philadelphia City Commission Chairwoman Lisa Dealey initially sounded the alarm about the ballots on Saturday after the state Supreme Court earlier in the week barred local election officials from counting ballots with missing or incorrect dates on the return envelope. So they took it all the way to the Philadelphia Supreme Court and they told them, baby, we ain't counting them ballots. So if you did not put your date on the ballot, they're not counting the votes conveniently in Philadelphia. But they ain't talking about, because the only place where people forgot to put their date is in Philadelphia. None of the other rural areas or the red areas that people forget because they are perfect. Nobody ever forgets their date there. Nobody ever puts in envelopes that's not right. Mind you, in the rural areas of Philadelphia, it's documented, and there were whole lawsuits. There were Republicans that were voting for dead people. That is documented. It is real and true. In that same state, in the rural areas back in the 2020 election, they were casting votes for dead people in the rural areas of Pennsylvania just so that they could try to win the election for Donald Trump, which is why when they went to court and tried to say that there was fraudulent elections, Biden ended up getting more votes because they had to cast out votes that the Republicans had casted for people who were dead. A mess. Anyway, moving on. So I'm gonna put a couple links in the chat. This first link that I'm going to put in the chat is what I'm going to go through this this stuff on this link, but this first link is where you can find all of the information for the election voter ID laws by state. So it lists when you go to cast your vote tomorrow, that site right there, that link will tell you exactly the laws and rules for your state about what type of ID you need and all of the information you need to go and cast your vote tomorrow. So that's that link. This next link that I'm going to post is for if you've casted a mail-in ballot or an absentee ballot. This is the link for you to track your vote, or you can give that link to someone else too. So if you know someone that voted by absentee ballot or mail-in ballot, or they put it in a drop box, that link right there is a ballot tracker, and you can select your state, and it'll give you, it'll take you to where you need to go, and you can put in your information, and you can track to see exactly where your ballot is, whether or not it was counted, and all of that stuff like that. So yes, this next part. So this will be the last thing I'm going to go over today. Because and like I said, this stuff is very important. I know people got other places to be, but to me right now, there's nothing more pressing than this election tomorrow and what we have going on. And I feel like, and I'm glad you all are sticking in here with me so I can get all of this information out so that you, even if you've already voted early, like I've already voted, but if you have family members, friends, everybody you know who needs to go vote, please get them this information. What I plan to do now is go over what the voter ID laws are for each state. All right, so here we go. So what I'm going to go through now is state by state. What is the law in terms of voter ID? What are the voter ID laws for that particular state? In Alabama, Alabama requires voters to present photo ID while voting. A voter can obtain a free photo ID from the Alabama Secretary of State, a county registrar's office, or a mobile location, which changes daily. The mobile location schedule can be accessed, and you can go, there's a website where you can access it. If you go to that first link I gave you, the Ballotpedia link, you can get the website from there. In Alaska, voters in Alaska must present a valid ID of identification at the polls. The identification does not have to include a photo. It does not have to include a photo. If an election official knows the identity of the voter, the official can waive the identification requirement unless it is a first-time voter who registered without providing identification. That's Alaska. In Arizona, in Arizona, a voter must present some form of identification at the polls. The identification does not necessarily need to include a photo. A voter can either present a photo ID that includes his or her name and registered address, or, I'm sorry, let me read that again. A voter can either present a photo ID that includes his or her name and registered address, or they can provide two forms of non-photo ID that include the voter's name and registered address. So if you have an ID, it just needs to have your name and your registered address. And when they say registered address, the address that's on your voter registration. If you don't have a picture ID, you have to provide two forms of ID, and both of them have to have your name and the registered address, meaning the address where you're registered to vote. In Arkansas, Arkansas has a photo ID requirement for the voting process. The identification must include the voter's name and photograph. It must be issued by, quote, the United States, the state of Arkansas, or an accredited post-secondary educational institution in the state of Arkansas. Let me read that again, because this is one of those states where they're about that life. Let me read that again for you. A voter, I'm sorry, where am I at? Oh, the identification must include the voter's name and a photograph. It must be issued by, these are the places, quote, the United States, meaning the federal government, the state of Arkansas, or an accredited post-secondary educational institution in the state of Arkansas. End quote. In California, according to the Office of the California Secretary of State, in most cases, California voters are not required to show identification at their polling location. A voter may be asked to provide identification at the polls if it is his or her first time voting. This requirement applies if the individual registered by mail without providing a driver's license, state identification number, or the last four digits of a social security number. Acceptable forms of identification include driver's license, utility bills, or any document sent by a government agency. That's in California. In Colorado, voters must provide a valid form of identification if they choose to vote in person. The identification does not have to include an ID. Voters may also need to return a photocopy of their ID with their ballots if they are voting by mail for the first time. Where am I at? DC. No, I'm in Connecticut. In Connecticut, voters in Connecticut must present some form of identification at the polls. Though a photo is not required, first-time voters who register by mail must present either valid ID or a current document such as a bill or check with their name and address when voting in elections with federal candidates. All other voters must present either a social security card or other ID showing either name and address, name and signature, or name and photo. In DC, DC does not require identifications for most voters. The District of Columbia Board of Elections require voters who submitted their voter registration application by mail or online without one of the following documents to be present. I'm sorry, to present one on the first time that they vote. A copy of the government issued photo ID showing name and address, a government issued document showing name and address, a utility bill, a bank statement, a government check, or a paycheck showing the name and address issued within the last 90 days. That's in DC. In Delaware, voters are asked to provide identification at the polls. They are asked to provide identification at the polls. Valid identification includes a Delaware driver's license or state ID, a signed social security card, or another document that identifies the person by photo or signature. A photo is not required. Voters who do not present proof of identity can sign an affidavit sign an affidavit of affirmation that the voter is the person listed on the election district record, according to the Delaware Code. In Florida, voters in Florida are required to present photo and signature identification on election day. If a voter's ID does not display his or her signature, he or she will need to supply a second form of identification that does. Um, okay, you checked the tracker and it was received good, Diamond Pearl Jim. So that's good. See, it works. So go ahead and check your stuff. In Georgia, photo identification is required when voting in Georgia. Valid forms of ID include driver's license, state ID cards, tribal ID cards, United States passports, employee ID cards, military ID cards, and voter ID cards issued by county registration offices or the Georgia Department of Driver Services. Voters can obtain a free voter ID card from any county registrar's office or DDS office. In Hawaii, voters in Hawaii are generally not required to present identification while voting. In 2019, the statute requiring voters to present identification, if so requested by a precinct official, was repealed. Hey, Monk Chip. Hey, Boo. In Idaho, in order to vote in Idaho, voters must present valid photo identification or sign an affidavit. Valid photo ID includes an Idaho driver's license or photo ID card, a U.S. passport or federal ID card, a tribal photo ID card, a student ID card issued by a high school or post-secondary institution in Idaho, or an Idaho license to carry a concealed weapon. If a voter is unable to present an accepted ID, he or she is allowed to sign a personal identification affidavit swearing to his or her identity. After signing the affidavit, the voter is issued a regular ballot. In Illinois, Illinois does not require voters to present identification while voting in most cases. First-time voters who registered by mail and did not submit their driver's license number, state ID number, last four digits of their social security number, or other form of ID are required to present identification showing their name and address before voting. In Indiana, Indiana law requires voters to present an Indiana or United States government issued photo ID before casting a ballot at the polls on election day. The ID must either be current or have expired sometime after the date of the last general election. Certain voters can claim exemption from the law. If a voter does not have an accepted form of ID, he or she can obtain a free Indiana ID card from the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles. In Iowa, Iowa requires voters to present identification while voting. Voters who do not have a photo ID can obtain one for free by mail. If a voter doesn't have a photo ID, they may have another voter vouch for his or her identity. The voter can also provide other documents verifying his or her identity and residence. Voters who do not have a photo ID can obtain one for free by mail. In Kansas, in order to vote on election day in Kansas, a valid form of photo identification is required. A photo ID does not need to have an expiration date, but if it does have an expiration date, it must not have expired at the time of voting. If the voter is over the age of 65, he or she can use an expired ID. Some voters are exempt from the photo ID requirement. Voters who do not have a photo ID can obtain one for free through the Division of Vehicles, Kansas Department of Revenue. In Kentucky. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me take a quick water break. All right. In Kentucky, voters in Kentucky are required to present identification before voting. Valid identification includes photo and
non-photo identification. So it doesn't have to have a photo. Election officers can also confirm the identity of a voter by personal acquaintance. In Louisiana, a Louisiana voter must present one of the following forms of identification at the polls: a driver's license, a Louisiana special ID, or another generally recognized photo ID that contains the voter's name and signature. If a photo ID is not presented, the voter must sign an affidavit. Voters who sign affidavits must be challenged. Registered voters can bring their voter information card to the Office of Motor Vehicles to receive a free Louisiana special identification card. In Maine, a voter in Maine does not have to present identification at the polls unless he or she is registering on election day. In that case, the voter must present identification and proof of residence. In Maryland, most voters in Maryland do not have to present identification on election day. Only first-time voters who registered by mail and did not provide a valid form of identification, voters whose identities are challenged, and voters registering or changing their address during early voting are required to present identifications at the polls on election day in Maryland. In Massachusetts, most voters in Massachusetts are not required to present identification at the polls. However, first-time voters in federal elections, inactive voters, voters casting provisional ballots, and voters who are asked by a poll worker to provide ID due to reasonable suspicion are required to do so. Valid forms of identification include both photo and non-photo identification. In Michigan, each voter in Michigan must present photo identification at the polls. A voter's photo ID does not need to include an address. A voter without photo identification may sign an affidavit attesting that he or she is not in possession of photo identification. In Minnesota, identification is not required of already registered voters in Minnesota. If they have not voted in 4 years or more, proof of residence is required. In Mississippi, Mississippi voters are required to present photo identification in order to vote in person. Accepted forms include a driver's license, U.S. passport, a photo ID issued by a branch or department of the state. Voters can obtain a Mississippi voter identification card for free at any circuit clerk's office in Mississippi. In Missouri, Missouri requires voters to present photo identification while voting. Accepted forms of identification include a current Missouri driver's license or non-driver's license, a current military ID, a current U.S. passport, and another photo ID issued by the United States or the state of Mississippi. In Montana, a voter in Montana is required to present photo identification when appearing to vote. Accepted forms of identification include a valid driver's license, a U.S. passport, and a Montana concealed carry permit. In Nebraska, yes, China White, you do need to check that. In Nebraska, voters do not need to present identification in order to vote in Nebraska. A voter may be asked for identification if he or she is a first-time registrant who mailed in his or her registration and did not provide identification at that time. In Nevada, Nevada does not require voters to present identification while voting in most cases. A voter in Nevada must sign his or her name in the election board register at his or her polling place. The signature is compared with the signature on the voter's original application to vote or another form of identification, such as a driver's license, a state identification card, military identification, or another government issued ID. In New Hampshire, voters in New Hampshire must present photo identification at the polls. If a voter is unable to present a valid form of identification, a poll worker will take a photo of the voter and attach it to an affidavit, which must be signed by the voter. Exceptions are provided for those who object to being photographed for religious reasons. Additionally, a poll worker may verify the voter's identity. In New Jersey, if a New Jersey voter does not provide a valid identification at the time of registration, he or she must show identification at the polling place. Identification includes any valid photo ID or bank statement, car registration, government check, or another document. In New Mexico law states that a voter must show identification at the polls only if he or she mailed his or her registration application and did not provide verification of his or her identity at that time. Valid forms of identification include photo and non-photo forms. Some municipalities require identification when voting in local elections. In New York, a voter does not have to present identification at the polls. However, if a voter does not provide valid identification at the time of registration, he or she must show identification at the polling place when voting for the first time. In North Carolina, North Carolina law requires a voter to present photo identification at the polls on election day. However, as the result of a court order, this requirement is not currently being enforced. In North Dakota, North Dakota requires voters to present identification while voting. Identification must include the voter's name, current North Dakota residential address, and date of birth. If a voter does not have a form of identification that includes his or her current North Dakota residential address or date of birth, the voter can present accepted supplemental documents. Voters who cast absentee ballots or vote by mail must include a valid form of identification with their ballot. In Ohio, on election day at the polling place, Ohio law requires voters to provide some form of identification. Additionally, every voter must announce his or her full name and current address. A photo ID is not required. If a voter is unable to present a form of valid identification, he or she can provide his or her driver's license number, state identification number, or the last four digits of a social security number and cast a provisional ballot. In Oklahoma, Oklahoma requires voters to present identification while voting. Valid forms of identification include government issued photo IDs and county election board voter identification cards, which do not include photographs. Voters can present a document issued by the United States government, the state of Oklahoma, or a federally recognized tribal government that includes their name, photo, and an expiration date after the election date. In Oregon, Oregon is a vote by mail state. Interesting. When registering to vote, a voter must provide his or her driver's license or state ID card. Interesting. So they don't even have polling in Oregon. They're all vote by mail. In Pennsylvania, we almost done, y'all. I ain't got that much more to go. In Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania does not require voters to present identification while voting in most cases. However, first-time voters must show identification. Accepted forms include both photo and non-photo ID. In Rhode Island, photo identification is required at the polls in Rhode Island. Accepted IDs include Rhode Island driver's license or permit, a U.S. passport, cards issued by any federally recognized tribal government, and cards issued by U.S. educational institutions. Voters without a photo ID can obtain one for free from the Rhode Island Department of State. In South Carolina, all voters are required to present a photo ID at the polls in South Carolina. This includes a state driver's license or ID card, a voter registration card that includes a photo, a federal military ID, or a U.S. passport. A voter can receive a free photo ID from his or her county voter registration office by providing his or her name, date of birth, and the last four digits of his or her social security number. In South Dakota, all voters in South Dakota must present photo identification at the polls. Approved forms of photo identification include the following: South Dakota driver's license or non-driver ID card, U.S. government photo ID, U.S. military ID, student photo ID from a South Dakota high school or accredited institution of higher learning, or tribal photo ID. If a voter does not have a photo ID, he or she can sign a personal identification affidavit. In Tennessee, oh yeah, we almost done here. Yeah, we at the home stretch now. In Tennessee, voters must present government issued photo identification at the polls. Some voters are exempt from ID requirements. Voters can obtain a free photo ID from the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security at any participating driver service center. In order to receive an ID, a voter must bring proof of citizenship, such as a birth certificate, and two proofs of Tennessee residency in Texas. Texas requires voters to present a form of identification at the polls. If a voter does not possess the required form of identification, poll workers must ask the voter whether he or she cannot obtain an acceptable form of ID. If the voter answers yes to this question, he or she can present a non-photo form of identification and complete a reasonable impediment declaration. Upon doing so, the voter may cast a regular ballot. Some voters are exempt from the ID requirement. Voters who do not have a photo ID can obtain a Texas election identification certificate at any Texas driver's license office. Y'all notice Texas was the longest one? Y'all see they trying to do anything in their power to keep people from voting in Texas. But you know that's the great state of Texas, governed by Governor Hot Wheels. In Utah, at the polling place, a Utah voter can either present a form of identification that bears his or her name and photograph, or two forms of identification that bears his or her name and address. In Vermont, only first-time voters who registered by mail are required to present identification at the polls. See how easy and quick that was? In Virginia, Virginia got a long one too. This one long like Texas. In Virginia, voters in Virginia must present non-photo identification at the polls. Valid identification includes the following: voter registration confirmation documents, valid Virginia driver's license, valid United States passports, any other identification issued by the Commonwealth, one of its political subdivisions, or the United States. Any valid student identification can, let me read that over. Any valid student identification card issued by any institution or higher education located in the Commonwealth, or any private school located in the Commonwealth. Any valid student identification card issued by any institution of higher learning of higher education located in any other state or territory of the United States. Any valid employee identification card containing a photograph of the voter and issued by an employer of the voter in the ordinary course of the employer's business. A copy of a current utility bill, bank statement, government check, paycheck, or other government document that shows the name and address of the voter. All that is the stuff that you can use to vote in Virginia. They just got to be extra. We got four more. In Washington, the state of Washington. Well, basically for Virginia, Ravine, if you got something that got your name and address on it, you good. Okay, you good. In Washington, most voters in Washington vote by mail and do not have to present ID. But voters who choose to vote in person must show ID. In West Virginia, a voter in West Virginia is required to present identification at the polls. Acceptable forms of identification include government issued IDs, both with and without photographs,
bank cards, bank statements, and insurance cards. The voter may also be identified by a poll worker or other adult they have known for at least 6 months. So your boyfriend or girlfriend could say, "Oh, that's so and so." Voters can obtain a free voter ID card at their county clerk's office in Wisconsin. Voters in Wisconsin are required to present photo identification at the polls. Accepted forms include Wisconsin Department of Transportation issued driver's license or identification cards, military IDs, and U.S. passports. Certain voters are exempt from ID requirements. Voters can obtain a free Wisconsin state ID card at Wisconsin Division of Motor Vehicles office. Last but not least, in Wyoming. Wyoming requires voters to present identifications at the polls. Does not have to be a photo ID, you just have to have an ID. And that's in Wyoming. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all 50 states and what their voter ID requirements are. That's all I got today. We've been on here 2 hours. We did some major heavy lifting. I did a lot of reading. I hope y'all enjoyed today. Listen, I am tired, y'all. That took a lot out of me. Child. Yeah, stripper from the pole can ID you, child. Long as they know you for 6 months. I probably, like I said, I'm gonna do my I'll be over at Darren Green's tomorrow night doing Potomac at 8. But I might do a late live tomorrow at 11, just to go over some, and it's going to be very preliminary, just to go over some preliminary stuff as it comes in, maybe around 10:30, 11ish tomorrow night. I'm going to try to get with some of my peoples, try to get maybe with Really Being Tabitha. Um, yeah, Harold, you late to class. My 500-word essay. No. Harold, you can go back and we did spend a good amount of time going over state by state, Harold, and what the the ID requirements are for voting tomorrow. But I'm going to try to get with some of my other people who know and do politics, maybe Tabitha Really Be, and maybe Wednesday we'll try to do a post-election live where we give commentary, because this is going to take some time. It may even be better to do it on Thursday. I don't necessarily want to do that because I have to travel on Thursday night, but we'll see. But y'all know I'll check in and as much as I can. Also on Thursday, I'm going to go see Black Panther. I already got my outfit for my Black Panther. I already got my unbroken white for Black Panther. I'm watching mine at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Friday. And so yeah. Yeah. For those of you all who today was your first day like Sean, y'all come back, y'all subscribe, hit the notification bell. We don't just do politics, we also do Run Your Mouth. We get a little more debaucherous on Run Your Mouth. We could talk a little more salaciously on Run Your Mouth. We have palate cleansers on Run Your Mouth. And we do the things that we do. We talk about people, and we have a whole lot more fun there. We have a lot of fun here too. But we talk about a lot of stuff. We have a lot of fun on Run Your Mouth. Anyway, right, Diamond Pro Jimmy over there skipping class. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get some of us together to do a show to break down election coverage. Listen, if you haven't already done so, please go out and vote. Okay, please, please, please go out and vote. Get your people to go out and vote. Make sure that you that we stay vigilant. Make sure you stay vigilant. This election is not about them. It is about us. It is not for Washington. It is for us and our well-being. There is an existential threat to our freedom going on right now. And I keep telling y'all, we are careening toward probably civil war. I could really see that. Anyway, y'all, that's all I got for y'all today. Please like, share, subscribe. This is a very important live for you to share out. Hit the like button so it can get into the algorithm. I um I did do some heavy lifting for y'all today. Y'all can, support your boy with the with the with the Cash App if you so choose. Um, but as I always say before I go, I love y'all. I love on y'all. Thank you all for being vocal, present, and active. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for any and all contributions that you make to the channel. They are much obliged and much appreciated. I'm ever so grateful that you all had a lot of places that you all could be, but you chose to be here with me, and I am eternally grateful. Thank you all so much for rocking with me and being here. And we'll be back at some point tomorrow to probably late tomorrow evening to break down some election day coverage as things come in. We'll be watching Steve Kornacki at the big boy. Y'all know Steve Kornacki gonna have on them khaki pants and that white shirt with the rolled up sleeves. And he's not gonna listen. Starting tomorrow night, Steve Kornacki ain't gonna sleep for the next 72 hours. He won't sleep until maybe Friday. I'm just telling you what I know. It's gonna be Veterans Day before Steve Kornacki goes to sleep starting tomorrow night. So y'all pray for him. Anyway, y'all, I'm about to get out of here. That's all I got for y'all. Until next time, thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. I'm out.